Dandy escapes from marriage. Chapter 32. Lu Shu recently started waking up earlier than usual. Previously, he would begrudgingly get up only after the sun had risen. Now, he could wake up right when dawn broke, mostly to catch a glimpse of Shen Cao during his morning exercises. The first thing he did upon waking was to push open the window. To his surprise, Shen Cao, the person he was expecting to see, wasn't in the courtyard. Perplexed, Lu Shu ran out and searched all around, finally finding him in the backyard. "Ah Cao, what are you doing?" He spotted Shen Cao squatting by the wall, his expression tinged with joy and excitement. Shen Cao turned around, showing a hint of joy. "Looks like the hen is about to lay eggs." "Really?" Lu Shu ran over in excitement, crouching beside him. Together, they observed the chicken coop. In the hen's nest, the hen's rear end was bobbing up and down, making Lu Shu nervous. Instinctively, he grabbed Shen Cao's hand and encouraged, "Come on, lay the eggs, lay the eggs." Finally, there was some movement from the hen. In their expectant gazes, the hen laid some droppings. "Lu Shu, ... Shen Cao, ... Lu Shu's face contorted as he covered his nose and swiftly fled the scene. Shen Cao sighed and went to the kitchen, grabbing some ash to cover the chicken droppings. He then shoveled it into the vegetable garden to use as fertilizer, a method suggested by Aunt Zhu a few days ago. Lu Shu stood in the fenced yard, watching Shen Cao busy himself without any sign of disgust. He felt admiration and in a moment, realized he might have been overly squeamish. Since they started keeping chickens at home, he had never dealt with feces because Ah Cao would feed the chickens before he woke up, then take them to the open area outside the yard, and clean up the yard almost completely, making it difficult to smell anything strange indoors. He also remembered that in the village, there were people who didn't like to clean the menagerie and the chickens and ducks would sneak into the house when they were free, creating an unbearable smell that kept visitors away. "Do you want to eat porridge or noodles for breakfast?" Shen Cao returned, washing his hands carefully with a basin of water. "Porridge. Porridge. Porridge." Lu Shu plunged his hands into the basin as well. The basin wasn't big, and their hands quickly squeezed together. Shen Cao looked up at him. Lu Shu wasn't the least bit guilty. "Save water, let's wash together." His reasoning was too straightforward and Shen Cao silently lowered his head, pulling his hand out from Lu Shu's fingers and turned to prepare breakfast. Lu Shu stared at his reddened ears, a smile playing on his lips. After eating 2 bowls of rice porridge, the two of them hitched a ride on the bamboo weaver's donkey cart to town. "Brother Xiao, I have something else to do today and can't help you sell your goods," Lu Shu said. The bamboo weaver was somewhat anxious. "Then what will you do?" "I'm afraid I won't be able to handle it alone." "You'll be fine, you used to do it alone." Lu Shu squeezed his cheeks with both hands and stretched them to both sides, smiling happily. "Did you shave, and your courage grew smaller?" The bamboo weaver tried to lower his head but he couldn't help but make a face. "Don't be afraid, I'm still at the inn where Ah Cao often goes. You know that place. If you can't handle it, come to me," Lu Shu said in a low voice, "but if it's to meet that girl, don't come to me. If you like her, do it yourself." I don't know what to do." "What should I do?" The bamboo weaver nervously rubbed his hands. "Should I try to appear more cheerful?" "Just be yourself," Shen Cao patted his shoulder. "Temporary disguises won't work. If she doesn't like you for who you are then she won't be happy with you in the future, even if you get together." On the way to the inn, Shen Cao unexpectedly noticed Lu Shu seemed quiet and even looked deeply troubled. He asked, "What's wrong? Are you worried about Big Brother?" "Not really," Lu Shu hesitated, looking at Shen Cao. More than worrying about the bamboo weaver, he was concerned about himself. Temporary disguises wouldn't work. If Ah Cao found out about his true self, would he dislike him? "What are you worried about then?" Shen Cao asked again. Lu Shu thought for a moment, then casually asked, "What do you think of Zhang Moyang?" "In what way?" Shen Cao inquired. "In terms of character, personality. Would you be willing to marry someone like him?" Shen Cao suddenly stopped, wearing an expression that said, "Have you lost your mind?" Lu Shu rephrased his question, "I mean, he has a lot of behaviors you don't like. What do you think of him as a person?" "He's not malicious at heart, just a bit playful." "If someone is even more playful than him, like an amplified version of him, what do you think?" Shen Cao shook his head. "That's not good." Lu Shu, ... So, here's the question, should he completely change himself and start anew, or should he just be himself as Shen Cao suggested? Lost in thought for a while, he couldn't come up with an answer and nearly bumped into someone. "Watch out!" A hand suddenly grabbed his arm, pulling him back. When he looked up, Shen Cao's face was just inches away from his, almost tempting him to lean in for a kiss. However, Shen Cao was looking in another direction. Following his gaze, Lu Shu saw a couple. The man looked weathered, supporting his wife who could barely walk as tears streaked her face. "Please save our daughter, save her," the woman sobbed helplessly. "Poor thing," the bystanders murmured, discussing among themselves. "Their daughter is only 13 years old. She went out of town a few days ago to visit relatives and never returned. They found shreds of her clothes by the roadside." "Was it reported?" Shen Cao asked. "They reported it last night, but the county magistrate is away. The magistrate's assistant has sent people out to search." Another passerby added, "Half a month ago, a girl went missing in the neighboring town, too. They say she was abducted by bandits. Who knows if it's true?" "Xiao Wu, go back to the inn first." "I'll take them home," Shen Cao said, his brow furrowed as he helped to support the woman. "Okay." Concerned, Lu Shu headed back to the inn. Shortly after, young Master Zhang and his sister arrived with the two maids. He asked, "Did you hear about the missing girl in town?" "Is that so?" Zhang Moyang shook his head. "These days, Fang Qiang is busy with his wedding. There doesn't seem to be any major cases at the Yamen." Note: Yamen is a term used in Imperial China to refer to the administrative office or headquarters of a local government official. It served as both the office and residence of the official, who could be a magistrate, prefect, or other local administrator. The Yamen was the center of local governance, where officials conducted administrative duties, held court sessions, and managed various governmental functions. The term can also refer to the entire compound or complex that housed these offices. Some say a girl went missing in the neighboring town, too. If it's all the work of bandits, this could be serious, Lu Shu was worried. Previously, bandits only robbed valuables and crops without harming people. Now it seemed to have escalated. "Where's Shen Cao?" Zhang Moyang asked. "He's escorting the parents of the missing girl home." Lu Shu could imagine Shen Cao would also inquire about the unfortunate couple's situation, so he was quite worried. He had seen bandits before. If Shen Cao went after them himself, that stubbornness of his might lead to trouble. "How many guards does your family have?" "A few gatekeepers," Zhang Moyang replied. "Just a few. What do you expect? Our village is simple, and nothing major happens usually. Besides, the Zhang family isn't considered a wealthy household. Have you ever seen the gold chamber pot of the Lu family in Jinling?" "Stop it with the chamber pot. Can you stop mentioning the chamber pot?" Lu Shu interrupted. "I don't want to, but it's made of gold." Zhang Moyang retorted. "Don't worry, Cao Shen is just escorting them home. Everything will be fine. Don't scare yourself," Zhang Moyang reassured him. Lu Shu nodded. Feeling relieved, he regained his composure. "Okay, let's focus on the task at hand." After lunch, Shen Kao finally returned to the inn. Why did you take so long? Lu Shu asked. Have you eaten? Shen Kao nodded slightly, then he sat down and said, the missing girl is said to be a well-behaved and obedient young lady. She went out of town yesterday to visit her sister who had just given birth. The officials and soldiers searched for a whole day but didn't find her. They only discovered numerous footprints at the place she disappeared, indicating multiple perpetrators. It's very likely to be the bandits, Lu Shu said. Has the Yamen dispatched more people to search? Zhang Moyang asked. I went to the Yamen. The magistrate assistant said everyone has been sent out to search, but Fang Qiang is still preparing for his wedding with a portion of the men. Shen Kao pressed his forehead and suddenly stood up. We can't wait any longer on this matter. If the bandits become more audacious, it could endanger more people. What are you going to do? I'll figure out a way to borrow some soldiers and leave for a while. Shen Kao paused and looked down at Lu Shu, then he reached out to rub his tightly furrowed brow. It's all right, I'll be careful, you stay home and wait for me. I'll go with you, Lu Shu held his wrist. You stay here to help keep an eye on Fang Qiang. Shen Kao rejected his request. Don't worry, I'll be fine. After packing up briefly, he was ready to depart. Wait, Lu Shu reluctantly called out to him, handing him the only 10 taels of silver he had, for your expenses. I have some, so keep it for yourself, buy whatever you need. Shen Kao returned the silver. The two argued back and forth for a while. Zhang Moyang couldn't bear it anymore and took out 10 taels from his own purse. All right, take this money for your journey. It's a long way, use it to hire a carriage and get there faster. The three watched as the carriage departed. Zhang Moyang pulled Lu Shu's sleeve. Let's go, if we don't see you for a while, are you going to worry yourself to death? You're single, what do you know? Lu Shu scoffed. I'm happy, I'm carefree, I laugh at your own misery. Lu Shu couldn't be bothered to respond to him. He returned to the inn to continue tutoring Zhang Moshan. In the blink of an eye, it was the day of Fang Qiang's wedding. The girl's disappearance seemed not to affect others. Early in the morning, the Fang family's residence was lively, with decorations and guests arriving for the banquet. Dressed in wedding attire, Fang Qiang stood at the door welcoming guests. When he saw Master Zhang and Zhang Moyang arriving, he glanced behind them specifically but saw no sign of Zhang Moshan. He was deeply regretful and said to the Zhang family, I'm truly sorry. Although I can't give Miss Zhang the status of a lawful wife, I will always remember her kindness. Once my household is stable, I will seek to marry Miss Zhang again. Not to mention Zhang Moyang, even Master Zhang's face changed upon hearing this. Father and son entered the door with grim faces. Master Zhang gritted his teeth, this brat, I almost married Moshan to her. That was a real close call. Zhang Moyang took the opportunity to say, sister is intelligent. Father should teach her to do business. What business? She will endure hardships and face others' disdain? She's my daughter, how can I let her be judged by others? Marrying into a good family and living a stable life, isn't that better? Which family is a good family? Zhang Moyang asked. Families with power and influence all have concubines. Just the inner courtyard alone would be enough to make her suffer. Besides, which of these men here do you think is worthy of her? Master Zhang looked around but couldn't find a suitable candidate. Suddenly, his eyes lit up. Who is that young man? He looks so handsome. How come I've never seen him before? Zhang Moyang glanced over and twitched his mouth. It was none other than Lu Shu, who had somehow slipped into the banquet and munching on peanuts. He walked over, sat down nearby and casually helped himself to some peanuts. Why are you here? Having a feast, it's been a while since I had meat. Lu Shu grabbed a handful of peanuts and stuffed them into his bosom, then picked up a straw hat. I'm leaving now. The dishes haven't even been served yet. What kind of feast are you having? Lu Shu smiled. The bridal sedan is arriving. Not long after he left, there was a sudden uproar outside. Zhang Moyang hurried to the door to witness Fang Qiang's marriage ceremony. As the bridal sedan stopped, Fang Qiang smiled broadly, reaching out to escort the bride out. Her face was covered by a veil, but her tall figure was unmistakable. His mouth was grinning so wide, it hard not to see his teeth. There were many people congratulating them all around, urging them to enter the house. Unexpectedly, something happened. A small stone appeared out of nowhere and hit Fang Qiang's knee. His face changed immediately. Before he could react, his other knee was hit. He knelt down in front of everyone with a thud. Everyone, ... Zhang Moyang was laughing heartily, but then he suddenly saw Fang Qiang raise his head and point in a direction and shouted, "Get that person for me! Don't come back if you can't catch him!" Everyone turned to look, including Zhang Moyang, who saw a man leaning against the window of the opposite tavern, flicking his slingshot and smirking mischievously at Fang Qiang. "You're asking for trouble," Zhang Moyang thought to himself. The soldiers quickly mobilized and ran towards the tavern. Lu Shu turned away from the window and quickly disappeared from everyone's sight. But the next moment, they heard the sound of a horse neighing. Zhang Moyang turned his head to look. Somehow, that guy had gotten hold of a horse. He was sitting proudly on its back, deliberately riding past the chasing soldiers and kicking up dust that hit them in the face. "Quick! Chase after him! Don't let him get away!" That arrogantly proud young man on horseback gave Zhang Moyang a strange sense of familiarity. Zhang Moyang stared in the direction that the man had left for a long time. Suddenly, he woke up to the realization, could this man be intentionally leading the soldiers outside the city? End chapter. Dandy escapes from marriage. Chapter 33. While Fang Qiang was still busy with his wedding arrangements, he still ordered people to pursue the man. Then he continued to hurry through the preparations for the wedding ceremony. Seeing him complete the rituals and lead his bride to the bridal chamber and thus completing the marriage ceremony, Zhang Moyang anxiously rushed outside the city. Sure enough, several miles out, he saw officials scattered everywhere, searching for Lu Shu's figure. He thought for a moment, and considering that since this guy deliberately attracted attention, he should have a way to escape. So, he instructed the coachman to turn around and return to the inn in the city. Pushing open the door, he saw Lu Shu leisurely drinking tea. "You really," Zhang Moyang panted as he sat down, deliberately lowering his voice, "don't you care about your life? If Fang Qiang catches you, there will be no mercy. He's busy today, how could he leave on such a special day as today?" Lu Shu chuckled. "Why did you lead the officials over there? To looking for the missing girl?" Zhang Moyang asked. "There has been no news these days. These people are really useless. Fang Qiang is only concerned about his own wedding and had all the Yamen officials attend to his own business. By doing this, these officials won't come back unless they thoroughly search. Otherwise, it won't be easy to go back and report." Lu Shu snorted coldly, "I've been displeased with him for a long time." "Who hasn't?" Zhang Moyang cursed a few times before turning to look at him, his pupils narrowing. "But, who are you exactly?" "Your father." Lu Shu glanced sideways. "Didn't I respond to you more than 20 times? You unfilial child! Get lost! I'm serious." Zhang Moyang tilted his head and carefully examined his face. "Are you the young master of the Lu family? Do I look like the young master of the Lu family?" Lu Shu raised an eyebrow and smiled teasingly. Would he not be enjoying his golden night instead of raising chickens and farming here? Zhang Moyang stroked his chin and pondered for a while, but he still couldn't figure it out. Only a fool would do such a thing, right? But the impression you gave me at the restaurant just now was so much like that young Master Lu. Zhang Moyang sighed. That's because of your influence. After hearing you talk about him last time, I thought that young Master Lu seemed quite cool, so I wanted to imitate him. Lu Shu said. You imitated him really well. Zhang Moyang gave him a thumbs up. I bet even he would be confused if he saw you. Probably. Lu Shu grinned uncontrollably. Today, Lu Shu stayed in town. By nightfall, the group of searching officials had still not returned, and the lively banquet had already begun at the Fang family's place. Zhang Moyang squeezed among a group of revelers, escorting Fang Qiang to the bridal chamber, making a ruckus for a while before leaving with the others. He walked at the back of the crowd, deliberately slowing his pace. As he passed the front courtyard and turned to the other side of the new house, he suddenly heard Fang Qiang roar angrily, "Who are you? Where's my beauty? Where's my grand beauty?" Pfft! Zhang Moyang ran to the inn to find Lu Shu and mimicked Fang Qiang's tone at that time with malicious glee, thoroughly amused by himself. After laughing enough, he realized that Lu Shu just smiled faintly without much reaction, looking absent-minded. "What's wrong with you? What are you thinking?" Zhang Moyang asked. The moonlight was thick. Lu Shu sat on the windowsill, his eyelashes casting a faint shadow. He half closed his eyes and murmured softly, "I wonder how Ah Cao is doing." ******. It took Shen Cao 3.5 days to leave the jurisdiction of Chu Province. Chu Province was not large in overall area, but its terrain was remote and complex, with many mountain roads. He also changed carriages several times along the way before finally arriving in Huai Province. The prefectural government office was located in Huai Province, which had much wider streets with bustling shops and vendors everywhere. Having stayed in a small town for a long time, he suddenly felt somewhat uncomfortable upon entering here. He touched the jade pendant in his hand and walked towards the prefectural government office. "This Shen Cao, request to see the prefect, concerning the matter of bandits. Please inform him." The guards glanced at him, and one of them went inside to report. Soon after, the guard came out and said, "Please come in." Shen Cao entered the gate and saw a monk sweeping the floor in the courtyard. He was puzzled. "Hui Shang, what are you doing here?" Hui Shang suddenly turned around, ran up to him with the broom in his hand, looking sorrowful as he said, "You finally came to rescue me." "Rescue you?" Shen Cao was puzzled. "What happened? Aren't you supposed to explain the situation to the prefect?" "Yes, I told him about the bandits and county magistrate Fang's affairs, just like you said. I even showed him the letter you specially wrote. But then, he detained me." Hui Shang said anxiously. "Why would he detain a monk like you? You came here just by yourself without waiting for any note. Why are you actively throwing yourself into the net? How admirable!" Shen Cao glanced at him and Hui Shang immediately shut up, picking up the broom to continue as a floor-sweeping monk as he murmured softly, "Honestly, I can't tell if this prefect is good or bad. On one hand, what if he to detain both of us who know that he may be in cahoots with County Magistrate Fang? On the other hand, he didn't mistreat me during meals and actually seems to have sent people to Chu Province to investigate the truth of the matter." Just then, a servant approached and asked, "Are you Master Cao Shen?" "That's me. Please come with me. The prefect is out on official business and will be back soon." "All right." Shen Cao followed and was led to a guest room in the backyard of the yamen. The room was elegantly furnished with a few calligraphy and paintings on the walls. One of the orchid paintings was hastily done, seemingly painted freely, more likely the work of a child. Before long, the servant brought in some refreshments and then closed the door. "It's over. You've been detained, too." Hui Shang waved the broom, walked to the window and whispered to him. "Shen Cao, ___." Shen Cao took a piece of green bean cake and asked, "Do you want some?" "Give me 2 pieces." As the sky gradually darkened, the prefect, who was supposed to return shortly, had still not come to see him. "It's really over. I just heard the servant calling for the prefect earlier. He must have returned but deliberately didn't come to see you." "No worries. Want some green bean cake? Give me another 2 pieces." Late at night, the servants all left, and Hui Shang returned to his own room. The courtyard fell into silence. Moonlight spilled like water, and Shen Cao stood at the window, staring at the moon in a trance. Footsteps sounded outside the door, stopping at the entrance. Then a deep voice sounded behind him, "Master Cao is enjoying the moon at this hour. But whom are you missing?" Shen Cao smiled lightly, "There is indeed someone at home that I'm concerned about." The person chuckled coldly, "If you're concerned about someone at home, why leave without a word?" "Apologies." Shen Cao turned around, gazing at the figure standing at the door. The dim light only outlined his blurry face, making it hard to see the expression in his eyes, but Shen Cao couldn't help but smile. "Long time no see, de Gur. I thought you had forgotten about me long ago." Shen Hui paced in, sizing him up, "You've slimmed down quite a bit. Seems like life outside isn't that good." Shen Cao laughed, "If you want to make fun of me, go ahead. Don't hold back." Shen Hui chuckled coldly twice, poured tea for himself and sat down. "When did you figure out it was me?" Shen Cao turned his head and looked at the painting hanging on the wall. "Is this one of Ning Er's recent works?" "Yet." Mentioning Ning Er softened Shen Hui's expression a bit. Looking at the painting, a smile appeared in his eyes. "She painted it for me before I left. I wonder how your little niece had been taught to paint like this." After saying that, he glanced at Shen Cao. "You do have a conscience to recognize her brushwork. You made your test too obvious. Who would hang a painting of their own child in a guest room?" Shen Cao chuckled, "But why did you come to Hui province?" "The old prefect retired, and His Majesty transferred me here. Although the emperor is young, he has been guided by the prince regent since childhood and has several wise generals and ministers to guide and teach him, giving him the appearance of a wise ruler. Now that the prince regent had retired and handed over power, the emperor was determined to exert his influence. Therefore, he favored young officials like Shen Hui, not only to establish his own political power but also because young people are more energetic and eager to perform. Congratulations on your promotion." Shen Cao smiled. "Did sister-in-law and Ning Er come with you?" "No. Once things settle down on my end, I'll bring them over," Shen Hui said, then glared at him without hiding his annoyance. "If you had just honestly participated in the imperial examinations, you might already be in the Hanlin Academy by now. Even if I left the capital, at least there would be you to help take care of our elderly parents." "I had no choice either." Even now, Shen Cao found it somewhat troublesome to think about his sudden marriage arrangement. "Do you know anything about my unexpected engagement?" "I heard our parents mention it once in passing before, but I didn't pay much attention. I never thought they would actually keep harping on about this marriage." Shen Hui could somewhat understand him on this point, which was why he hadn't sent anyone to forcefully bring him back. For most people, an engagement could be accepted, and if the relationship was not working, there was always the option of taking a concubine. However, Shen Cao's engagement was with another man. Regardless of whether or not he took a concubine, Shen Cao's daily immersion in poetry and books did not seem like the behavior of someone who liked men. Just imagining Shen Cao spending every day with another man was something even Shen Hui, his own elder brother, found hard to imagine. "In fact, I think our parents regret it now." Shen Hui sighed, "At least father's attitude seems indifferent. Otherwise, you would have been dragged back long ago." "I figured as much." Shen Cao had been worried when he first left home, but now, after half a year without any word, it seemed his father didn't have such a strong desire to bring him back. "Are our parents doing well?" "They're fine, always taking Ning Er out for walks." "And sister-in-law?" "She's fine too, just complaining about you not being at home. Ning Er has lost interest in practicing calligraphy and painting. When I return to the capital, I'll make sure to teach Ning Er well." "When will you return to the capital?" Shen Cao paused. "Let's focus on the matter at hand. Did you read the letter I sent through Hui Shang?" Shen Hui gave him a meaningful glance. I did, and I've already sent people to investigate. That's good. I thought I'd have to persuade you, but having you as the prefect saved me a lot of trouble. Shen Cao smiled sincerely. Don't mention it, Master Shen Cao. Shen Cao smiled awkwardly and then became serious again, but I came here specifically to say that the situation with the bandits has worsened. Shen Hui also put away his mocking expression. How so? Shen Cao briefly recounted the disappearance of the two girls. After leaving town, I immediately went to the neighboring town and learned that another girl disappeared while traveling alone on the road. She still hasn't been found. I'm too busy here to leave. Take this token, and tomorrow I'll send a team of elite soldiers with you. When you return to the Yamen, have them cooperate with you on this matter. Shen Hui took out a token. Shen Cao took it, stared at it for a moment, and realized that it wasn't inscribed with Shen but with the character Zhao. For now, the emperor's surname is Zhao. Don't mess it up. Got it. Shen Cao put away the token. The next morning, just as the sky was getting light, Shen Hui went to the Yamen and assembled a large team of soldiers to accompany Shen Cao back. At the moment of parting, the brothers had nothing to remind each other of their brotherly affection. They were too close to have this moment of contact. Just as Shen Cao was about to sit in the carriage, he suddenly heard him ask, "When you were admiring the moon last night, who exactly were you thinking about from home?" Shen Cao was stunned. "Since you know father isn't mad at you and you don't want to return to the capital, are you secretly settling down outside?" Shen Hui frowned and asked. "No," Shen Cao thought for a moment, carefully choosing his words, "I'm not settling down, just thinking that life is good now, with good friends, meals and seasons." Shen Hui looked at his shabby clothes. "You've really grown up. If mother saw you like this, she'd kill you. Hurry up." "Wait, what about Hui Shang?" "I'll be right out." Shen Cao smiled and, once Hui Shang was on the carriage, they hurriedly set off on the return journey. After more than half a year, seeing his elder brother and learning that their family was safe and sound, a heavy burden was lifted from Shen Cao's heart. Occasionally, he would recall the happy scenes of their family together. But as the convoy entered the jurisdiction of Chu province, his thoughts of home gradually gave way to thoughts of his good friends. In the blink of an eye, over 10 days had passed. He wondered how they were doing and how he himself was faring. Riding non-stop back to town, the accompanying troops immediately attracted the attention of onlookers along the way, who began whispering to each other, suspecting that something big was about to happen. Passing by the inn, Shen Cao and Hui Shang got off the carriage and went ahead to meet up with Lu Shu and Zhang Moyang. To their surprise, the room was empty. Shen Cao asked the waiter, "Has Zhang Moyang not brought his friends here today?" "No, young Miss Zhang has disappeared too. He wouldn't have had the mind to come here," the waiter replied. "What? Young Miss Zhang has disappeared?" Shen Cao's expression changed slightly, and he hurried to inquire about the situation at the Zhang residence. Zhang Moyang came out to meet them, looking worn out with red-rimmed eyes. "You're finally back. Did young Miss Zhang really disappeared? Where did she disappear from? Why was she alone outside the city?" Shen Cao asked urgently. "She didn't disappear from outside the city but from within." Zhang Moyang paused, giving him a profound look, "and she wasn't alone. She disappeared with Xiao Wu." Shen Cao's face changed instantly. End chapter. Dandy escapes from marriage. Chapter 34. The incident happened just a day ago. Early in the morning, Lu Shu fed the chickens and found himself engulfed in negative emotions, triggered by a dream he had about his former extravagant lifestyle. This wasn't the first time he had such a dream. But this time, the feeling of despondency enveloped him like a fog and he couldn't muster any enthusiasm for anything. He even felt a bit resentful towards his surroundings. Having been away from home for several months, it seemed like all his accumulated emotions suddenly surged forth. He wasn't a poor lad at all, nor did he know how to farm or dig. It wasn't that he didn't have bad moods, he wanted to enjoy himself leisurely. He disliked living a simple and austere life, and countless times he wished to return to Jinling to lead a rich and idle life again. Feeling depressed, he went to find the bamboo weaver with the intent to go to town together with him. Just as he reached the courtyard, he heard the loud clucking of the hen, somewhat noisy as if deliberately calling for him. He turned his head and saw an egg in the chicken nest at the corner of the wall. An egg. He walked over and picked it up. This time, it was indeed a freshly laid egg and was still warm. He smiled and couldn't help but shout, "Ah cow, the hen laid an egg." Only the clucking of the hen responded to him. He suddenly came to his senses. Ah cow had been away from home for more than 10 days. There was no one to cook for him, no one to fan away the mosquitoes, no one to keep him company through the long days. These 10 days felt endlessly long. With no one to share his joys and sorrows, he bottled them up inside, which only made his feelings more intense. Holding the fresh, warm egg, he stood up and his gaze was drawn to the nearby sapling. It was a pomelo tree. His grandmother's home had 2 pomelo trees. As a child, when he visited with his mother, he loved picking and eating the pomelos. Back then, he was still short, so he used a slingshot to get them, leaving marks all over the pomelo skins. By the time he left, he had become an expert with the slingshot and the pomelo trees were bare. Later, his grandmother passed away and he never went back there. Those brief memories seemed to be covered by other things until this moment when they all came flooding back to him. Last time in Fang Qiang's osmanthus garden, he casually mentioned wanting to plant a pomelo tree and the next day, Shen Cao brought back a few 4-season osmanthus saplings and a pomelo sapling from town. Unfortunately, the osmanthus didn't survive but the pomelo sapling did. He watered the sapling, and his early morning gloom mysteriously dissipated. It seemed that no matter how hard life was, it was full of hope like this pomelo tree. He couldn't help but mutter, "I wonder when Ah Cow will come back." On the way to town, he lay on the donkey cart, covering his face with a straw hat. "Why are you so quiet today?" the bamboo weaver couldn't help but ask, finding the quiet atmosphere unusual. After a while, Lu Shu replied in a muffled voice, "I'm staying in town for a few days. Can you feed the chickens for me in the morning and evening?" "Sure." "Why are you staying in town and not going home?" the bamboo weaver asked. "It's too lonely at home alone." The bamboo weaver understood this feeling well. When night fell, the only sounds were the cicadas and some night birds. Inside the house, apart from the noise one could make, it was deathly quiet. So, he understood why Brother K took in Xiao Wu. Just having a companion made life more interesting. Of course, he also understood Xiao Wu's loneliness. In town, after Lu Shu helped him sell his goods, he went to the inn where he was teaching Zhang Moshan. Zhang Moshan was a very clever and diligent girl who quickly grasped the essentials. While she was applying makeup to her 2 maids, Lu Shu took out the paper and pen left by Shen Cao and started drawing. "What are you doing?" Zhang Moyang, who was snacking on sunflower seeds, came over. "Drawing to remember someone." Zhang Moyang silently watched his work for a while, said, "You're good," and went back to watch his sister's progress. The 2 maids, with their new makeup, looked completely refreshed and dazzling. Zhang Moshan glanced at Lu Shu and on a sudden whim, decided to try the makeup on him. Lu Shu carefully folded his drawing and put it in his pocket, then let her paint his face. He even gave her some pointers while looking in a copper mirror, which took a bit longer, leaving Zhang Moyang, who was watching, feeling drowsy. "I'll go buy something to eat." Zhang Moyang left the inn and couldn't help but laugh as he passed by the Fang family's house. He heard from the locals that Fang Qiang had a lively wedding night and one could hear his cries of pain in the middle of the night. Soon, the townsfolk knew that Fang Qiang had married a tall butcher's daughter with a fiery temper who often beat him up, leaving him with black and blue eyes whenever he went out. Even though Fang Qiang wanted to annul the marriage, it was too late. He had brought her home in a grand procession in front of many people, and backing out now would be a blow to Magistrate Fang's reputation. He bought 2 packets of candied fruit and returned to the inn, only to find that his sister and Xiao Wu were missing. *****. Have you reported it? Shen Cao asked with a stern expression, turning to head toward the yamen. Yes. Zhang Moyang hurriedly followed him with his tone weary. The soldiers and our own men have been searching for the 2 days without any clues. Did they disappear in the city? The 2 maids said they lost track of them outside the inn, but it's uncertain if they disappeared in the city. Zhang Moyang paused before adding another piece of information. A few days ago, Fang Qiang got married and Xiao Wu set him up, leading his men to search outside the city. They actually found some tracks leading toward the neighboring town, so the yamen sent people to investigate there. Shen Cao paused, then looked at him. Xiao Wu set up Fang Qiang. Yes. Zhang Moyang briefly recounted the events of that day and then updated him on the current situation. After I reported it, the yamen dispatched all their remaining men to follow the tracks. They should have reached the neighboring town by now, but we don't know if they've found anyone yet. When Shen Cao entered the yamen with a squad of elite soldiers, the yamen staff master was startled. Magistrate Fang have yet to come back from meeting the new prefect of Huai province, and the usually quiet yamen was suddenly bustling with activity, causing the yamen staff master great distress. Who are you, and what are you doing with these men? The yamen staff master scolded. I am here by order of the prefect, bringing a letter for Magistrate Fang and the yamen staff master. Shen Cao presented a letter handwritten by his elder brother, instructing the yamen to obey this gentleman K in all matters, prioritizing the capture of bandits without delay. The yamen staff master examined the official seal repeatedly, confirming its authenticity, and looked at him in astonishment. You actually mobilized the prefect's forces. This is not the time for such discussions. Shen Cao looked around and asked coldly, where is Fang Qiang? You mean young Master Fang? The yamen staff master was puzzled. He should be at home, but why are you looking for him? Shouldn't you be focusing on catching the bandits? Lead the way. The Fang residence was only 2 alleys away from the yamen. As the yamen staff master led the way, he kept muttering, I know you don't get along with young Master Fang, but after his marriage, his life has been quite. Alas, he was bewitched by a woman and foolishly married a fierce one. He spoke enthusiastically, but no one responded, and it wasn't even clear if anyone was listening. We're here. Young Master has barely gone out these past few days. The yamen staff master knocked on the door, and a servant opened it, his expression momentarily uneasy when he saw the men behind the yamen staff master. He quickly lowered his head. Zhang Moyang was about to ask Shen Cao why they were wasting time here when heard him sharply ask, where did Fang Qiang hide the people he brought back? The servant's shoulders trembled. I don't know what you're talking about. Shen Cao looked coldly at the yamen staff master, who finally realized the situation and grabbed the servant, whispering urgently, did the young master secretly bring people back? The servant was trembling and on the verge of tears but didn't dare speak. Zhang Moyang immediately understood and angrily demanded, did Fang Qiang capture my sister? Yamen staff master, you better get them out quickly or your law-breaking young master will be in serious trouble, Shen Cao said coldly. The yamen staff master broke into a cold sweat and grasping the servant, he demanded, quick, where are they hidden? In the cellar. As soon as he spoke, Shen Cao strode inside, followed closely by Zhang Moyang, Hui Shang, and some of the soldiers accompanying them. This way, the cellar is this way. The yamen staff master quickly led the way. With the yamen staff master accompanying them, the servants only glanced at the strangers without daring to stop them. The cellar, located in the backyard behind the kitchen, was used to store food and wine and was seldom visited. The yamen staff master lifted the floorboard, and just as he was about to go down, he heard several coughing sounds. Ma Shan, are you here? Zhang Moyang called excitedly toward the inside. Mei Mei, are you here? A moment later, a woman ran to the base of the opening, looking up at them. Grr, you finally came. There were stairs leading down from the opening. Several people descended in succession. Zhang Moyang tightly grasped her, scrutinizing her carefully. Are you hurt? Did that bastard Fang Qiang harm you? Just as Zhang Moshan was about to speak, she glimpsed Shen Cao moving forward in the dim cellar. She said, Xiao Wu is still inside, you need to save. Before she could finish, a scream came from the front, sounding eerie in the dark, damp cellar. Ah! Everyone was startled, but the Yamen staff master turned pale first. Isn't that the young master's voice? You'd better go save Fang Qiang, Zhang Moshan said, holding her head. He's being tormented. There was a wall ahead. They turned a corner and walked a few more steps to see Fang Qiang, tightly bound and kneeling on the ground, an apple balanced on his head. He was trembling all over but didn't dare let the apple fall. The apple had several arrows sticking out of it. He was kneeling before a pile of rice sacks, and in the corner stood a tall woman. At the top of the high pile of rice sacks, someone was lounging, one leg propped up and the other swinging. This person was playing with an arrow and, just as he was about to throw it again, he looked up, his mischievous grin vanishing as he stared intently at Shen Cao among the group, his mouth curving into a broad smile. You're finally back. Lu Shu leaped lightly to the ground, rushing to Shen Cao. He hesitated, wanting to hug him but realizing his clothes were dirty, leaving his hands awkwardly suspended mid-air. Just as he was about to retract them, a pair of arms wrapped around his back, holding him tightly as if to merge him into their bones. Lu Shu froze for a moment, inhaling the dusty scent from Shen Cao, his eyes brightening. His hands dropped to Shen Cao's back, and the longing that had built up over the past days suddenly left him speechless. What is this? Shen Cao asked, pointing to Lu Shu's bulging chest. Oh, it's my drawings. While you were away, I drew pictures of you. Lu Shu took out a folded piece of paper from his chest and proudly handed it to him. These drawings helped me cope with missing you. You can draw? Shen Cao asked, surprised and curious as he unfolded the paper, his expression pausing. Is this a horse? Hui Shang leaned over to look. Look at that face, it's a genuine horse face. No, it's a shoehorn face, Zhang Moyang corrected. Zhang Moshan said helplessly, we should probably handle our business first, but personally, I think it looks more like a coffin face, all square. The Yamen staff master couldn't resist his curiosity and glanced at the drawing, his brows furrowing. Is this supposed to be a person? The atmosphere suddenly grew quiet. The Yamen staff master felt a chill down his spine and slowly turned to see Lu Shu exuding cold air. At this moment, Shen Cao patted the dust off Lu Shu's clothes and said with a smile, it's well drawn. Really? Lu Shu asked slowly. Yes, very unique. Unique in a way that no one else can recognize it aside from me. So, it's a special bond between us. Lu Shu was immediately appeased. Exactly. The others. End chapter.